So, is there anything else, not being mental health professionals, most people don't have that kind of training. Is there anything else that you would suggest that we do if you have a loved one or a friend in a cult? What's the best kind of first response to do with them? As friends, as family, you don't want to see them be lost in this cult, but you don't want to push them away. So how would you approach that person, in a practical sense? How would you come to them in a way that you don't want to push them away, but you want to say, I'm here for you? Is there any ways to approach them with that?
Sure, there's a lot of ways. First of all, somebody leaving a cult or an abusive relationship, they've internalized a lot of those negative message tapes that their abuser has put into their head. You're no good, there's nowhere else to go, no one else will want you. In the case of a cult, it would be, nobody else is going to understand you, they're only going to persecute you, they're only going to steal your salvation, they're going to lead you away from Jehovah if you're a Jehovah's Witness, they're under the control of Satan. What you need to do is to counteract those message tapes. And one thing that you can do is to try to just be there, be a support, and boost that person's self-esteem and let them know, we love you. We only have your best interests at heart. We understand what you're going through. If you see a little fissure start where you can sense that they're having doubts and maybe thinking about they want to leave, do not charge through the door. If you charge through the door, they are going to snap back into that cult so fast that it isn't even funny, because they're going to be so overwhelmed that what happens is, there was a sociologist, his name was Leon Festinger, and he came up with, he coined the term cognitive dissonance. And what that means is that anytime we have two opposing viewpoints that we're confronted with, the way we develop as we grow into adulthood is that, we already have our learned behaviors that we already, are firmly entrenched in us. And what happens is that we are confronted with other ideas that may sometimes, as we're growing older, conflict with those. So now there's a conflict, and the human psyche doesn't deal well with conflict. So what happens is you have to find a way to reconcile the opposing views. Now usually that's done one of two ways. Either you reject the view that you feel doesn't carry as much weight or isn't as good of an argument as the stronger one, or you find a way to synthesize the two. So what you don't want to do is, if you overwhelm somebody who is just exhibiting just a tiny little bit of doubt, and you come at them with all fours with claws and teeth flying, they're going to run right back to their comfort zone. You don't want that to happen. So the best thing to do is just be a general support. Also understand that these people, because of what they've been through, have very strong feelings of fear and mistrust. They may mistrust other individuals, even other religions, other groups, and their primary goal in life is survival of the fittest. Your primary goal is that you're not going to get involved in another situation that's going to victimize you or make you vulnerable to further victimization. So there's a lot of fear and mistrust. You have to work on establishing a common bond of trust with people like that. And you also need to realize that just because somebody leaves, number one, doesn't mean that they're out of danger. A lot of these cults, just like an abuser, will come and they will harass these people at their homes and pull out every stop to try to get them back in. And the other thing is that, now they've got all these dysfunctions in their attitudes and in their thinking that need to be corrected. And then to top it all off, it's very scary out there. Your only support system is gone, and if we just leave people dangling after we figure, okay, we rescued them from a cult, or we rescued them from an abusive relationship, we think our job is done. It's not. Our job is really only just beginning. We need to be there as a constant support. This is the problem that I have with cult deprogramming and exit counseling. Deprogramming, what happens is that 3 days intensively they work with this person in a motel, and then when it's over, that's it. The person's left to their own devices. They may go back to the cult, they may figure out that they can't survive in society and commit suicide. That is not the time to leave them alone. That is the time to make sure that you follow up. Follow-up is so important. It cannot stop there.
So right now, anybody who is in a cult right now, do you have anything you want to tell them?
Are in a cult, in a religious organization, or even in an abusive relationship for that matter, get out immediately. If you need recovery assistance after leaving a cult, Freedom Beacon Ministries is here for you. Even if you're a victim of battered women syndrome, we can be there for you too. You need to know that if you are in a cult, that it is not God's will for you to be victimized. It is His will that you are free from bondage. And He doesn't want you to be just a survivor, that we are more than conquerors through Him. We're not supposed to just be a survivor who just exists and, is always downtrodden and feeling bad about ourselves. And that is not the kind of witness that God wants us to be. He wants us to be conquerors. He wants us to be victors. That's what it's all about. And that's what we seek to get across to people.
So how can someone contact your ministry if they are in this kind of cult or have battered women syndrome? How do they get in contact with your ministry?
I'd say the best way would be to contact the ministry through email.